Class is now in session. I am Professor Hockey, and today we're discussing some long overdue news, honestly, coming out of the San Jose Sharks camp today, and that is that they have named former San Jose Shark himself, Mike Grier, as new GM. The reason I say that this news is kind of long overdue is the fact that the GM is usually the person who kind of handles and oversees the whole entry draft situation, which is only just 2 days away at this point. Now, of course, you can imagine that this decision was locked in at least a couple of days earlier, but based on the reports that we were getting about finalists and everything like that, it doesn't seem as though this decision has been locked in all that long, and so it is kind of interesting that the Sharks waited to almost the very last minute to announce this news. Now, what exactly is Mike Grier going to be able to do as Sharks general manager? Well, it should be noted that he's not going to be taking this franchise into a massively different direction. Reports also say that part of the sort of interview process for becoming the general manager of the San Jose Sharks, it was kind of made very clear that the Sharks were not going to be doing any sort of rebuild at any point, and were looking to try and get back into the playoffs as soon as possible. So any GM who had the thoughts of coming in and tearing things down probably didn't even make it through the first couple phases of this interview process. And as such, Mike Grier coming in, you know he's going to try and make this team competitive. The question is exactly how aggressive is he going to be? Hopefully he's not going to be too aggressive, as I think it would be an awful move to end up trading away, let's say, the first round pick of this year or of next year or anything like that to try and pick up some sort of aging forward who might get the Sharks over the finish line to be able to make the playoffs, but almost certainly will not get them over the finish line to make it in a competitive state in the playoffs. And as such, you're kind of just dooming yourself for further mediocrity over these next few years. For instance, if the Sharks were to trade away their first round pick of this season along with the prospect of picking up someone like JT Miller, yes, it would improve the offense significantly for the San Jose Sharks. It's possible that they could get like the 7th or 8th seed into the playoffs at that point, maybe even slightly higher. But are they better than Colorado at that point? Are they better than Calgary? Are they better than St. Louis? It's very unlikely that they would be, and so a first round, maybe at best second round finish would be in their future, and that is just not where the Sharks want to be. They were there for 15 years pretty much under Doug Wilson, and they came very close at times, some Western Conference Finals finishes, a Stanley Cup Finals finish, but they never got across that finish line. So I'm sure their major goal with a new GM should be to try and eventually get that Stanley Cup, and making one of these sort of moves that move the needle a bit but not all that much is really not the way to go. And so if he is slightly aggressive, he starts buying out contracts or something like that, I don't have that much of a problem with it, though I do think the buyout of Marc-Edouard Vlasic's contract would be a mistake just based on the amount of dead cap that would be there for the San Jose Sharks over these few years. But if there are some aggressive signings, some aggressive moves, as long as it's not mortgaging the future of the San Jose Sharks for the present and not really moving the needle at all, I don't necessarily have that many problems with it. So we'll see exactly what direction Mike Grier decides to stand in. I suspect it probably won't be just status quo, so we will see. Class dismissed.